Imagine an entire library of knowledge, rituals, prophecies, histories, maps of the stars, reduced to ash in a single day. The ancient civilizations of the Americas did not live in silence. They wrote, they recorded, they remembered, but most of their written memory was destroyed before the world could ever read it. In today's episode of Untold Secrets of Ancient America, we travel deep into the mystery of the lost books and codices of ancient America. What was written, what was burned, and what may still remain hidden. For centuries, scholars believed that writing systems in the Americas were rare or underdeveloped, but this belief could not be further from the truth. The Maya, Aztec, Mixtec, Zapotec, and other Mesoamerican cultures developed complex writing systems, glyphs that told stories, traced lineages, predicted eclipses, and mapped cosmic cycles. These civilizations created codices, folding screen books, written on bark paper, deerskin, or cotton, coated in lime and inked with obsidian black and vibrant natural dyes. These were sacred texts, passed from priests to scribes across generations. They were libraries of law, medicine, myth, and mathematics. Beyond Mesoamerica, the Ojibwe peoples created birchbark scrolls with symbolic language tied to ritual and lineage. The Inca, lacking a traditional alphabet, used the quipu, knotted strings that may have encoded more than numbers. Across the Americas, ancient peoples were not silent. They were literate in forms the Western world failed to recognize or chose to ignore. Of the countless books written by the Maya alone, only 4 are known to survive today: the Dresden Codex, the Madrid Codex, the Paris Codex, and the long-disputed Grolier Codex, now accepted as genuine. These bark paper texts are marvels, calendars, astronomical records, and ritual guides centuries ahead of their time. The Dresden Codex, for example, contains precise eclipse predictions and records of the planet Venus, used for both astronomy and warfare. These are not primitive sketches. They are deeply structured works of knowledge, crafted with intention, insight, and spiritual purpose. But these few surviving codices exist today only because they were smuggled out or hidden from destruction. Most others were not so lucky. In 1562, the Spanish friar Diego de Landa ordered one of the greatest acts of cultural destruction in the history of the Americas. In the town of Mani, in what is now Yucatan, he burned hundreds, perhaps thousands, of Maya books and idols. He later wrote, "We found a large number of books, and since they contained nothing in which there were not to be seen as superstition and lies of the devil, we burned them all." The loss was catastrophic. Priests, elders, and scribes, keepers of millennia of knowledge, were forced to watch as their ancestral memories were consumed by fire. The burnings weren't limited to Landa. Throughout Mesoamerica and South America, missionaries and conquistadors destroyed what they did not understand. They viewed indigenous texts as dangerous, tools of sorcery or rebellion, and so they silenced them with fire and sword. But whispers of the lost books remain. The Aztec kept scrolls called Huehuetlatoli, the ancient words, which included teachings, speeches, and histories passed down orally and visually. Some of these were recorded by native scribes using the Latin alphabet after the conquest, preserving fragments of what was once a vast corpus. The Incas' quipus, once thought to be simple accounting tools, are now believed to possibly hold narrative information too. Some researchers suggest there are quipu dialects, encoded in patterns and knots we've yet to decipher. In the north, the Ojibwe Midewiwin scrolls hold spiritual knowledge in symbolic form, passed down through ceremonies. And then there are the legends, rumors of codices hidden in cave temples, buried beneath colonial churches or sealed in tombs of high priests and scribes. One of the most famous stories comes from Ecuador, where explorers speak of the Cave of the Tayos, a subterranean vault believed by some to contain metal books and ancient manuscripts that predate known civilizations. While controversial, these accounts stir a question. Could more codices still exist, waiting to be found? Some believe surviving codices are still hidden, kept by indigenous families, buried in ceremonial sites, or locked away in private collections. Colonial records hint at texts that were confiscated but never catalogued. Some explorers claim to have seen codices stored in secret church archives or hidden in the vaults of European collectors. Whether true or speculative, these rumors reflect a real hunger to reclaim what was lost. Native communities today continue to protect and transmit knowledge through oral tradition, ceremony, and art. In a way, the books were not entirely lost. They were transformed. Every petroglyph, every sacred dance, every song passed from grandparent to child is a page from a living codex that endures. The burning of America's ancient books was more than an act of destruction. It was an attempt to erase memory itself. But memory cannot be erased so easily. It survives in stone, in symbols, in language, in the hearts of those who remember. One day, perhaps, a buried codex will be unearthed, its pages intact, its voice clear. Until then, we listen to the echoes, and we remember that ancient America was not silent. It was written in ink, in fire, and in stars, and some secrets still await the light. Thank you for joining us on Untold Secrets of Ancient America. If you found this story powerful, consider subscribing, sharing, and continuing the journey into the forgotten knowledge of this land. Until next time, let the echoes speak.